think my audio is coming in. Tell me if it's coming in okay. I think I had it muted. Okay, cool. Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, man, it's been a week. It has been a week, but I'll talk about it all on the show, man. It is exciting for the position that I applied for and how it all worked out and just how we are now, man. Like moving forward, but it is exciting. It is exciting. Yo, what's going on, boss? How you doing? Sorry, I went like end of the month. We were hungry. The wife wanted to go get dinner. We went to get dinner, and then had to run an errand, and then I had to push the show till 9. But like here I am. So like I wanted to kind of get in and kind of get something going. Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, gonna chill out tonight. Usually I've got a co-host, but for those who watch the show know that Jordan is in Japan right now. He is having the time of his life. If you haven't followed him on social, he posts on Threads more than anything now. Let me see if I can pull up his page here so we can see. He's got some great pictures. I'm so jealous of his Japan trip. But yeah, he's been posting stuff. So I'm really pumped for him. He's having a good vacay for sure. Let's share that. Yeah, so they've been posting such a cool. Oh, I'm so jealous. Really rocking it. I'm excited for his wrap up. He's going to be, posting more videos and whatever else. I know he rode the bullet train a few days ago. That's day 2. I'm not sure. I think maybe his Instagram has got more. But he's been really posting. I think they took the bullet train out to Osaka. Oh man, I mean, ramen is amazing. It's so good, especially when it's done right. Like, I had a coworker of mine who I remember I kind of introduced him to ramen, only because he's like, ramen, like who eats ramen, like the stuff out of a packet? And I'm like, nah, man, like slow your roll. Like it's not college, like 50 cent a packet food, like good ramen. He's like, he didn't understand the concept that there was such thing as good ramen. And yeah, like what's so funny is the packet stuff is actually good when it's cooked properly. But I think here in the US, we just kind of like boil water, like over boil it, put too much water, put the whole package in. There's like packaged ramen in other countries is like the base. You're supposed to add your own veggies and your own protein and everyone calls it like hacking your ramen here. But I'm like, that's how other countries do ramen. The prepackaged stuff is supposed to be just like a soup base. You're supposed to add like your own pork and your own like protein and chicken and whatever else you want to add and your veggies. So I always find it interesting that people think ramen is like poor food when it's cheap food, but the idea is like it's supposed to be a base. So oh man. Yeah, I think I'm gonna roll the credits and let's go here because we got some stuff to talk about, man. It's been a week and I got some thoughts. So let's roll the credits here. Oh, welcome to the Mid-Geek Crisis. It is that extra day once every 4 years. If your birthday is on the 29th, by the way, I'm sorry. I don't know. How does that work? If your birthday's on the day that is a leap year, does that? I mean, you always hear the joke, right? Like you only age once every 4 years to kind of celebrate your birthday. But it is a leap year, and it is the 29th of February, the last day, or as I guess we could call it, what is it, January 61st or something? I don't know. It's been a year already, man. My office is in chaos even still. I've been so busy doing all the 3D prints, and then my printer went down for a whole week. I had to deal with a bad clog, and because my 3D printer is a Bamboo Labs, it's one of those things where if you're not familiar, or this is the first time you've heard about 3D printing or whatever else, Bamboo Labs is kind of the new bad boy in town. The company's great, their products are great when they work, right? But just like everything, especially even 3D printers, they will go down, especially since they're kind of like workhorse machines, right? Like their entire process is feeding plastic into a hot end, and eventually something will go wrong where plastic will leak through or whatever else. I really did. I went through at least I want to say at least 8 kilos of black, just black alone. So I had to. So basically, I on Amazon, I subscribed to a 2-pack of black, and it would come every Friday. So I ran out a couple of days ago, and I ordered another 2. And when I got the box, only 1 roll was in it. So yeah, I'm in the middle of Amazon, like going like, where's the other roll? Like it's missing. But yeah, it makes me wonder. The one I use at my local library must take a beating and keep on ticking. Well, they require maintenance, right? So that's what's interesting. And you mentioned my new job. So if for anyone who follows me on other social media platforms like my Facebook, my personal Facebook, and whatever else, I had posted, and I haven't really posted it on Twitter, X, whatever we want to call it nowadays. I just took a new position. I'm going to start a new career on Monday, actually. So tomorrow is my last day at the current job. I've been at this job for 5 years now. But I just took a position as a STEM lab manager for a private school. They're called Parish Episcopal, and they are a wonderful private school here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They do elementary to high school, and the middle school, high school side of it has a STEM lab. So, science, technology, engineering, mathematics lab where they do welding, 3D printing, laser cutting, and they've got so many amazing machines. I mean, they've got 20 plus Prusa 3D printers. They just, like the day I walked in, my final, I guess interview day or whatever, they were running the new Prusa XL with the 5 color heads, and I just stood there and was just like, what is this? And they're like, oh yeah, we just got that. We put in the order 18 months ago, like when it first went up, and we finally got it. So here's this $6,000 multicolor Prusa XL just sitting there. And so my entire job, the whole purpose is my job is to maintain those machines, keep the firmware up to date, train students how to use a lot of this stuff. So I'll be just another member of the STEM lab. I'll be helping out with from welding to CNC to woodworking. And it's all the stuff that I do as a hobby. I mean, if you've ever looked at my lab and looked at my workspace, which is an absolute mess at the moment, but I've got 3D printers, I've got soldering, welding, microscopes, I've got all sorts of electronics. I do all of the 3D printing. You can see all the colors right there. And that's my hobby. It's what I do. It's what I love to do. I love tinkering. I love, thanks, man. Thanks. So that's my hobby. That's what I do. I get off of work and I like to tinker. I work on electronics. I'm always trying to learn something new. It is my passion. It's always been my passion to kind of just keep the mind going. And my current job, when I moved up here to the Dallas Fort Worth area, my background has always been in training development, technical training, helping people out. Always be the person that's helping others within the organization. And I took this job here in the Dallas area when we first moved up here, and the job was introduced to me as one thing, and then it kind of did not pan out to be that. And so I've literally been, since COVID, post 2020 onward, it's just been kind of one of these mind numbing jobs where I just do the job and finish. Like it's been boring. It's been really like weighing on me. Like I don't like it, but it pays the bills. And so this opportunity came up, and yeah. So essentially, that's it. I am now, my new job will be my new career. The offer came in, and it was more than adequate, and my entire job is essentially I get to go in every day and tinker and build and repair and just learn new things. And one of the big things that the school does is every year they do a giant moon rover project. So it's kind of like, I guess the way it was described to me would be like if science and technology department had like a varsity football team, right? And the culmination. So what's really cool, I guess, let me backtrack. What's really cool about this particular job or this particular position is that since this is a school that starts elementary to high, a lot of these students are in this school their entire school career. So they join, if they're into STEM, they will be in the STEM lab from 6th grade all the way to 12th grade. So some of these students have grown up and learned these skills every year. And so they never lose. They're always in the same environment. So they're learning the tools in that lab. So by the time they're in 11th, they're sophomores or juniors, they're welding. They're welding. They're using the CNC machines. They go in and they're working on these like elaborate projects that are just like I saw them working on this stuff, and it was exciting for me. But it was also like, I can't even imagine my 15-year-old brain would have exploded at the possibility of having like a lab like this to work in. You're like, I need to cut this out. And they're like, oh, we'll go to the laser cutter over there. Or, hey, I need to build this out, or I need to 3D print this or prototype this. I'm like, oh, well, there's a bunch of 3D printers over there. Let's go ahead and, fire up Fusion 360 and let's build it or whatever. And let's print it out and prototype it and do all of this and multiple, they've got ABS and PLA and all the materials. And it's just like so amazing that these kids have this opportunity. So, and it's exciting for me because I get to go in there and be one of those kids for a little bit. Like, yes, I know how to do a lot of that stuff, but there's a lot of stuff that I don't do on a daily basis. Like I know how to weld because I used to weld when I worked in my dad's shop. Many years ago. Like my background is my dad was a mechanic, and I've always been kind of a tinkerer because of him. There's never been a skill that I've never been afraid to jump into. I'm always taking something apart, or I'm always building, or I'm always learning. And if I don't know, I'm going to sit down and like research it till my eyes bleed. And so it's exciting because I know that there's a lot of things that these kids might teach me, and I'm going to teach them. And I'm going to learn and progress, but these kids will move on, and I'll stick around, and I'll just get better and better every year. But I'm just going to keep learning and keeping these machines up and running, maintaining, and it's exciting. I wish more schools would invest in this. Not all. Yeah. So this is interesting. This is a perfect conversation there that a lot of inner city schools. I grew up in a district where in Houston, I grew up in Houston. And the school that I went to, Elsick High School, it's in the Southwest. It's a school district called A-Leaf. And just recently, within the past, like at minimum 10 years at least, they now have a career center high school where the district has really gotten smart and been like, a lot of these kids, their opportunity to go to college isn't for them. They're not going to be able to go to college, but college isn't for everybody. And I think we're starting to realize that now. We're no longer shaming the idea of not going to college. A lot of these kids just need the experience. So if they can go in and learn welding, learn auto repair, learn and again, auto repair isn't the same as it was back 20 years ago. You're not just turning wrenches. You have to know how to. Every car nowadays is like 80% electronic. They have to know how to like read diagnostic codes and all sorts of like almost electrical engineering in a way. So those are all skills that are going to be needed for the future. And sometimes, I mean, let's be honest here, 4 years of college sometimes doesn't teach anybody anything when it comes down to real life skills. So these trade schools, these particular career-based jobs, I think, are needed more nowadays, especially since we've got so many opportunities. There's so many different skills, especially with technology moving as fast as it is. Throwing someone out of high school with the brain to learn, like, I'm not saying nonsense, but a lot of it tends to be like the early coursework, and they don't end up doing their major until like 2 years later, can be a waste. Just if you want to learn something technology based, just get in there and start doing it now. And some of these kids don't have the opportunities. They don't have the budget to work on computers at home, but they're always interested. So being able to go to a high school that has that stuff in the classroom allows them to tinker and learn. And when I was a kid growing up in high school, like, that was nerd stuff. But now everyone uses tech, right? Like, everyone's got a smartphone, everyone's learning, everyone knows Samsung and Apple and Microsoft, and everything kind of goes through video games, through robotics, through technology. All of it is intertwined. All these techs are intertwined now in a way that they've never been before. So with that all said, I know I can ramble all day, but I'm really excited about this opportunity. So that's my job now. So starting Monday, that's what I'll be doing for the foreseeable future. And it is exciting. So thank you so much, Rawls, for congratulating me. And I'm excited. I'm excited for, to learn and grow and just do things like that. So yeah, again, STEM is awesome. I think it's, the term STEM wasn't even really used when I was in school. But I mean, it was always there. And now you've got like STEM nights. Like my kids in elementary and middle have like STEM nights where they sit down and do projects, or they join clubs. I mean, my youngest is in chess club. Like, I can't even comprehend the fact that my 4th grader is in chess club, and I just signed paperwork for him to go into a chess tournament, in a couple of weeks. So like, this blows my mind that that's like something that kids are interested in, and it is. Like, he's not like, that wasn't even like a oh, this is for nerds. No, like, there's a big community, a big chunk of kids in his classroom that go to chess club every week, which is absolutely astonishing to me, but awesome, man, because chess is cool, and it's a tactical game. It uses your brain. There's a lot of like, you have to think ahead, and those are things that really help for other skills, right? I think chess is a good brain game. It's a good game for strategy and planning. Maybe the Queen's Gambit effect, that might be it. I mean, I actually never even got to see it. I know that Pedro had saw it, and he mentioned it on the show a couple of times, and I never got to sit down and watch it. But that might be it. Like, maybe it became popular because of that. But I know my kid has no idea what that is. But whatever. That's awesome. I know. It's one of those shows that's on the list. It's on the list of things to watch, and on the list of shows that I've heard are nothing but good things. So, but yeah. So let's jump in real quick, because this has been a funky week. I'm going to start off with a interesting story, because this one hits close to home to a lot of the things that I talk about. And let's see if I can pull up the story here, because this one sucks. This particular story is a downer, but I kind of have to put it out there. Well, no, that's not the right one I want to put. Let's see here. Let's find a good. Yeah, here we go. We'll do The Verge. So let's hear this. So this first story I'm going to talk about is Nintendo. Nintendo is suing the makers of the emulator Yuzu. Quote, for facilitating piracy at a colossal scale, is what they're saying. This is an interesting story, because, so if you're unfamiliar with what Yuzu is, Yuzu is a is an is an emulator. It is an emulator for the Nintendo Switch, and it's a dang good one. I mean, you install Yuzu, and you can play Switch games on your PC or on all sorts of devices nowadays, on Android phones if you really know how to. But what's interesting about this is that the download for Yuzu, right? Like you go and download Yuzu, you can't play Switch games right off the bat. There are things that you need to do. You need specific files. You need specific keys, as they're called, and they don't help you get those. There is no easy way to get those. I mean, you can look online and eventually find some, but the idea is you're supposed to be able to pull those off of your own Switch. So Yuzu is not really giving you anything. They're giving you this very basic framework. You still have to provide the main files to get it up and running. And then you can play Switch games on your PC. And what's really cool about it is this is, for one, most of the time you need to have your own, you have to own your own games. Obviously, there are ways to get your own, to get pirate copies of Nintendo games. But the point is I like Yuzu. I have it installed on one of my gaming PCs hooked up to my TV. And what's really neat about it is I buy almost every game that I enjoy on Nintendo. Piracy is weird for newer consoles. It's like I don't think there's a single game on the Switch that I have quote unquote pirated that I don't own in some way, whether I've already bought it digitally or I own it on cart. The only reason I do or use Yuzu is because Nintendo hardware is always lacking. It's always one of those interesting scenarios where Nintendo is always behind, but their games are so good. Games like Breath of the Wild, games like Tears of the Kingdom, Super Mario Wonder, so many games. They're great. They're great on the Switch. I'm never gonna say that don't play it on the Switch, but like being able to play them on a PC that's got power, playing Tears of the Kingdom in 4K because you have the video card and the power to kind of push it up there, looks so amazing. And it's just it's sad because, one, again, yes, facilitating piracy is strong because they're not really facilitating anything. You have to go and pirate the game yourself, but they're not really providing anything outside of just the tool. So I don't know. This is important because emulation in general has been around for years, and Nintendo has tried to pull down some stuff like this before. And this is a big one because I think this can set precedents big time for future issues. Because again, see, if you've ever seen with Steam Deck playing Legend of Zelda, chances are that you were the Yuzu emulator. The company's not only asking for the courts to stop Yuzu in its tracks for the permanent injunction, it also wants to take away its domain names, URLs, chat rooms, social media presence, and hand over yuzuemu.org over to Nintendo and seize and destroy its hard drives to help wipe out the emulator. And Nintendo wants lots of money and damages. So this is, I mean, it's just, yeah, it requires, there's no copyright, like the BIOS that is the brain, the internal software of the Switch is proprietary and it's copyrighted, but Yuzu and the makers of Yuzu don't provide that. So yeah, I mean, you need to have your own BIOS and your own keys hacked off of your own Switch to be able to play this. So I don't understand what ground this is on, but this is one of those moments where Nintendo can bully and really flex its muscle, because the makers of Yuzu are just some developers out there that, yes, maybe they wanted to play pirated games or whatever, but the point is like, it's because they enjoy playing Nintendo games, and they also enjoy playing Nintendo games in high quality. And Nintendo, sadly, is always lacking when it comes down to the hardware. I love Super Mario Wonder, but playing Super Mario Wonder on 4K on my OLED, on my TV that can handle it, looks amazing. Like it's like the graphics pop. It's not a soft, like it's just night and day. I don't know. Nintendo doesn't give you the option to do that, and you can't play Nintendo games on any other console or system or whatever without emulation. So this is one of those moments where obviously Nintendo is seen as the villain in the community because, yeah, this isn't cool. Things like Yuzu are important for later aspect. Later on, once the Switch is gone, these emulators stick around, and it's a way for game preservation to kind of keep going, for a system, for games. You know, I can ramble about this for hours, but it's so funny because without without teams that emulated systems like the NES and the SNES and the N64, we wouldn't have things like the Nintendo Switch Online service where they provide those games for free. They are based in using either open source or code written by people in the community. They're not usually using emulators written in-house. A lot of them are using emulation code, or they hire programmers that have created emulators to create in-house emulation. So it's like they know the community makes these tools for them, and then they come back around and then sell you a virtual console game on a system like when you play an NES game on your 2DS, on your 3DS, you're doing it through an emulator. So Nintendo didn't write that emulator usually. Most of the time they're using an open source version of an emulator that already exists, and they get it up and running on a console, their own console. So there have been times where they have physically, like, the community has physically taken a virtual console game and looked at the code and been like, that ROM is the ROM that was dumped on the community. Like, Nintendo has used a ROM that has been circulated on the internet and then sold it to you. It's happened before. So this is one of those times where Nintendo's biting the hand that feeds a little bit, because without the community doing this type of emulation, they wouldn't be able to do certain things later on. A perfect example is, I know whatever the next version of Switch comes out, we're probably going to get like GameCube as an option for download. Like, we're going to be able to play GameCube games on the next version of the Switch. It's inevitable. And when that happens, where do you think the Dolphin emulator that exists out there for GameCube and Wii is the tool that will probably be the basis of whatever they're using for emulation. I'm not saying that they're going to use Dolphin, but I'm just saying that there are teams like that have done leaps and bounds of Q&A and debugging for years. Nintendo just has to come in and look at this code, because what are they going to do? Like, is a small developer going to sue Nintendo for using an emulator offline? They're like, Nintendo's going to be like, you're emulating our system. We can do whatever we want, because they're the big company. They can flex. And so for them to kind of go after the Yuzu team, it's a little sad. It's frustrating. I don't know what's going to cause, but yeah, this is going to be a big deal, because they're saying that damages and whatever else. They're saying Nintendo suggests in its complaint that it may have actually been damaged by Yuzu too, alleging that The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was illegally downloaded over 1 million times in early May 2023, while Yuzu Patreon membership doubled during that same period. So they're pretty much saying like, oh, well, Yuzu's got a Patreon, so they profited off of their emulator so people could play Tears of the Kingdom, which was a new game, and then we could have sold copies of that. But I pre-ordered my copy of Tears of the Kingdom. I pre-ordered 2 copies of Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, I might be an outlier, but I bought 2 physical copies of Tears of the Kingdom. One for my kid, one for me. And I still played it using Yuzu. So like, I don't know, man. Like, sure, I'm one of, one out of like 10 people that might have played the game. Everyone else just pirated it and played. But Tears of the Kingdom sold very well. So Nintendo can't claim like they lost money on Tears of the Kingdom. I don't know. This is one of those moments where corporations really need to be careful, because communities like this are kind of their backbone for digital distribution later on. Everyone's moving to digital distribution and digital, just digital in general, right? Like Virtual Console and all of the their past catalog is played on their systems using emulators. And when you go after teams that do this, you discourage people to make and code and do the work for you. Not saying that Nintendo can't do it in-house, but just like that hasn't gone well for them in the past. Whenever you've seen like bad emulation or bad virtual console ports, it's because the code is sloppy, and emulators that are free online do it better. So I don't know. That's a tough one. Hopefully that turns out or gets thrown out, or maybe the courts will side, because again, this is one of those things where this is fair use. Like, they're not using code written by Nintendo in any way. They're not distributing anything. Oh man, that Wendy's story. Hey, that's a good segue there. I'll bring that up. So for those unaware, Wendy's recently announced, or they announced it and then immediately backpedaled. So this is how I'll bring up the story here. So Wendy's announced it won't use surge pricing. So a couple days ago, Wendy's had the news had been that like they were going to start charging surge pricing for their food, kind of like Uber, where at peak times, like middle of the day, their food might cost more because there's a higher demand for it. Like, I don't understand how that works. First off, I read all sorts of things and stories and whatever else about this. Wendy's is already one of the more expensive fast food burgers out there. When you look at pricing, I've always liked Wendy's. I think their quality for a fast food burger is better than most. But at the same time, they've always been more expensive. Like, you walk out of there, I think it's like almost $12 for a meal at this time. And unless you're buying like the $5 biggie bag or something like that, but they're basically stating that their prices will change and fluctuate depending on demand. And of course, now they're backtracking. They're like, "Oh no, we're not going to do that." We're not doing that at all. But it was because there was huge backlash online about that. I mean, can you imagine? Like, they make it seem like they're the only choice, right? Like, Wendy's is not the only choice for a burger. If at lunch, which is the most popular time of the day, I have to go on an app to see what the burger is going to cost me because how busy my local Wendy's is, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go to the next burger joint. Like, I'll just go to the one down the street that will give me a burger and fries for a set price. Why would I go to Wendy's when it's more expensive? Like, it just makes I don't know, like, who thought of that? That's like such an interesting, like, thought process that they had the hubris to think that, yeah, we're so good that we can do this and you guys are going to be okay with it. No, you're fast food, man. Like, we'll just go to the next burger. We'll go to McDonald's. We'll go to Burger King. We'll go to somewhere else. Wendy's is not the end-all be-all burger place. And for you to have the hubris to go, yeah, we can charge whatever we want because we're so popular, is absolutely asinine. So, yeah, that's weird. That's a weird one. Anywho, let's move on. So let's move on to the other big story here. Sony. So if you haven't been following the news, again, here we are in 2024. We're 3 months into 2024, and we yet again got another studio closure and layoffs, and it's a big one. Yeah, Nintendo. McDonald's has been pricey too. McDonald's has been pricier for a while. Had McDonald's for dinner tonight. $13 for a Big Mac and a 6-piece nugget. Wow, $13. I can't even, like, a solo meal for $13 is crazy. I just can't. That just makes no sense to me. I don't understand the pricing of food right now. It just, I don't know. Let's pull up the story here. This is a big one. I'm on Sony. Where is it? Anywho, well, you know what? Let's before I go to Sony, I guess we'll talk about this one because this is another one that got announced yesterday, right? So yesterday, Electronic Arts announced a big one here. They are laying off 670 workers. Yeah, that's that ain't good. So this is a big one. So EA cuts jobs for more than 670 workers. As of March 2023, EA employed 13,400 people. So they're going to cut 670 workers here. Laying off 5% of its workforce. That's a big one. There's a couple of things that they did. No specific games are mentioned, although EA currently is developing several games. One of the big ones that I know that was they were developing Respawn was developing a Mandalorian game, and that's been canceled, which I don't. This is like the second time we've had a bounty hunter game get canned, which is ridiculous because that's like a surefire win. Like out of any franchise right now, you want a game that's going to sell well, would be that. It would be a Mandalorian. So for anyone who doesn't know history on video games and Star Wars, this isn't the first time a Mandalorian game or a game from that type of like bounty hunter-esque game has been canceled. So here's some info on that. It's what could have been details on Respawn canceled Mandalorian Star Wars game. The game was set to be based on the Mandalorian bounty hunter, not believed to be the Mandalorian, but a Mandalorian. Players search for bounties across the galaxy. The game started with the Den, which is the player base of operations, and contained your ship, a map, a galaxy, an upgrade station, armoring, and more. The players could then equip weapons. I mean, this is done by Respawn. And if you're unfamiliar with Respawn, Respawn has been doing. Respawn Studios is probably known for. They're known for a lot of the good, Apex Legends, Titanfall 2. They did some of the popular Call of Duties, if I remember correctly. They did Medal of Honor. The Titanfall series is one of my favorite, man. Just such a good game. They did some of the Call of Duties early on as well. So yeah, I mean, they've got a good prestige when it comes down to first-person shooters / action titles. And they did Star Wars Fallen Order, which was fantastic. And then I think they worked on the sequel as well. But yeah, this is a good studio. They worked on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and 09. So one of the better ones. So yeah, it's a very prestigious studio when it comes down to that style of gameplay. And for them to be pulled off of this type of game is sad yet again, because again, this isn't the first time we've had a Mandalorian / bounty hunter game. Let me see if I can find the word on that one, because see if I can find the old trailer for that other game that was canned. What is it? If I can find it. Was it? Yeah, 1313 is what it was called. So this was 11 years ago. 11 years ago, there was a gameplay trailer for a Star Wars game that was canceled, and this was called Star Wars 1313. Does this look cool? 11 years ago now, and it's just kind of sucks that this is gone and we never got this, because this looked cool then.
Catch a deep breath. It'll be the last fresh air you'll get for a while.
Again, this game took place before we had any Mandalorian series, before Disney had just gone through the process. I think they were just going through the process of purchasing Star Wars. But this game was supposed to take place on like Coruscant.
It gets a lot dirtier where we're headed.
Yeah, that game did not come out. It is long gone. Everything you just saw here is nothing. Like it doesn't exist, which sucks because it looked promising. There was a lot of cool stuff. The studio that was behind it, I forgot who was behind that. See if I can figure that out. Yeah, it was a canceled action adventure Star Wars game. The game would have taken place more mature, gritty direction. Like 2002, Star Wars Bounty Hunter would emphasize on the fast-paced gadget, weapon-based combat tools exclusive to bounty hunters, rather than force and lightsaber-based combat. And then on 2013, it was announced that Walt Disney Company had ceased internal development of all LucasArts projects. So that was after Disney took over. They canceled all their projects to kind of like realign everything, but that game was long gone. It was supposed to take place in a kind of the scum civilization of Coruscant, known as Level 1313. So it was pretty cool. Again, it was LucasArts. It was being developed in the Unreal Engine 3 at the time. I mean, I have to tell you how long ago it was. But yeah, man, I mean, it was supposed to be really cool, and it was canceled because of things. But it just goes to show, like, Star Wars really can't seem to catch a break when it comes down to video games. I feel like it is a deep, deep, deep well of creativity and video game concepts, but we can't seem to get any of these off the ground properly. And then when we do it, EA tends to fumble it pretty big. What is it? When they did their newer, what is it? Not battle. What do they call it? Whatever the Battlefield game style was or whatever, the new version of it, the first version that came out was really beautiful looking, had a great engine, but it was like so lackluster. And then they released a sequel, and that one was better, but it wasn't as good as the old ones. And they just re-released those in as a remaster. Either way, EA just, again, 670 jobs gone. Multiple studios that were hurt, mobile studios, that sort of thing. But EA kind of like, they're one of those studios that are publishers that they tend to shoot themselves in the foot, right? Like they do these layoffs because they tend to keep following unpopular trends by monetizing and all this other stuff. So I don't know. I don't know what to think about this one. And of course, that's not the only one, right? So there's more. Sony announced that they were, I think it was like 900. Let me see if I can pull up the story here. Come on. Oh boy, so much. I mean, there was a Pokemon event, which was meh. Let's see if I can pull it up here. I usually have Jordan to kind of talk with while I'm looking up the stories here. Yeah, here we go. There we go. Yeah, so there's another layoff story because gaming is so profitable that we can't keep people employed. We've got Sony laying off 900 people and closing the entirety of London studio, which is, again, Sony. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know what you're doing. I just don't. You dump all this money in the weirdest things. Your in-house studios are weird. You closed Japan studio already a few years ago, and now you're closing all of London studio. I don't get it. All regions, several studios, including Naughty Dog and Insomniac, impacted. So this is already a big one. London studio was supposed to be developing a battle royale Twisted Metal game. Now, I would be like, oh God, another battle royale service game. But I mean, if there's any franchise that Sony owns that would be perfect for that style of gameplay, for the like multiple season passes, create new characters, skins, battle royale style system, is a game that was exactly that from the very get-go. Like Twisted Metal was a battle royale game. Like You picked a character and you you played in an arena and you battled it out. Like that's the entire purpose of that game. So like, I just don't understand. Let's see here. I'm convinced the gaming layoffs are stemming from high profit COVID years. Everyone's stuck at home and put more games. Yeah, it's a little bit of both. Like I could see that, but the problem is a lot of these studios, I just don't. Gaming. I mean, we've talked about this on the show before. Gaming studios, the big AAA studios, and like Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. The AAA projects are always expensive. They always feel like they need to spend multi-million dollars on these games, but the return is never there. And so I think they're not, I don't know if they're not paying attention, or if they are, they're not willing to invest in that. But the higher selling games, or the more popular games in the past few years, have been independent games. They've been the smaller games like Hades, smaller titles, smaller studios, more creative endeavors are the games that are kind of like really showing off, or really creating the creativity. So you've got these studios trying to dump millions and millions of dollars into these games. Yeah, you're right. So Lena Studio hadn't released a game since 2019, and then the games that they released weren't very like, they did like Playroom and a couple of other games. It's just, I don't know if that's to their fault. I think Sony really didn't give them an opportunity to release anything. They didn't give them the job, or whatever else. Yeah, let's pull up the list of what London Studios did. Let's see if I can pull up there. Yeah, so they're a British game developer. Yeah, I mean they did their SingStar games, the iToy back on the PS2, PS3, a lot of virtual reality games. So they did things like the London Heist, Into the Deep, just a lot of VR, almost like just in general, just felt very tech demo-y, right? Like, but they were pioneers in the whole like iToy, virtual reality, augmented reality style gameplay. So why would you close a studio where you've got a piece of hardware you're still trying to sell? You've got the PSVR 2 that you're trying to get off the shelf because you charge $500 for it. Why would you get rid of a studio that's entire like pedigree is VR / augmented reality / that style? I mean, they did Wonder Book, which was one of those games that like if you played it, it was kind of mind-blowing and really cool. If you don't remember it, Wonder Book was a PS3 title where you used the camera and you had like it was like a storybook that you played and you used the move, and it was just a very cool game. But again, it required peripherals, and it was whether if you had all this stuff, you had this great experience. But outside of that, they hadn't done anything else. That was they did PSVR Worlds, which is kind of like the demo disc that came with the PSVR 1. And then in 2019, they did Blood and Truth and Erica. So that's it. You're right. They hadn't released anything since like 2019. So yeah, you're right. They hadn't released anything in a while, but I don't know if that's to their fault exactly. Sony is supposed to fix yeah. Well, I mean, that would be the next step, right? Like if you can't keep pumping games into it, might as well just sell the hardware and then maybe take a license fee to use the PSVR 2 in some way. Like, I don't know how that's going to work. If you own a PC, you plug it in, or do I have to pay Sony to use like a specific app, or do I have to buy the game to work with it? Like, I don't know how that's going to work. Obviously, it should work just like anything, like the Oculus or anything else. You plug it in and you can use it with any of the VR, like Steam VR or anything like that. But that's really up to them. They can control it with firmware and software and all sorts of stuff until, of course, the community kind of unlocks all that. I don't know. It just it baffles the mind. It's a pretty big studio, deep pedigree, pretty old studio for Sony to just close. I mean, they did it before. I forgot the name of the studio, but it was a studio based out of London, based out of the UK. The studio that did Wipeout. They closed that years ago, which then made that that was it Psygnosis? Was that them? I forgot who did Wipeout. Now I'm gonna. Yeah, Psygnosis. Right. There we go. That's what it was. You're right. So Psygnosis. Let me see if I can. Yep. No. That's their co-developed. That was their Omega collection. That was just a re-release. What was it? Yeah, Psygnosis, man. That was you're talking about 2012 is when they closed it. So they were known as right. So they were known as Studio Liverpool. By 1999 is what they were called. And I mean, they did, first off, they've got a huge pedigree in the UK. They released a ton of Amiga games, things like Lemmings. It's kind of a big popular one that they released many years ago. I think they also did Populous, if I remember correctly. Shadow of the Beast on the Amiga series. But Wipeout was one of their big ones. And I mean, that was a whole studio and a whole franchise that I mean, nothing showed off like speed. That's like the equivalent of Sony's F-Zero, right? Like it was owned by Sony. It was a fast pace, high graphics, particles, battle system, really cool look style game that would totally look cool on the PS5 with a new entry, but we don't get that because they closed the studio. That's not to say that they can't revive it because they own the franchise, but like it just sucks to close that studio. Yeah, it just, I don't know. It's sad. They've done a ton of games, and that's another studio that they closed down, but that's another UK studio that's gone. So I don't know. I don't know what Sony's doing. They're kind of a weird one. I recently watched a video from Mad Little Pixel. You can check him out. Whether you like him or not, his style of his video, he tends to pump them out so fast. But he did a video a couple days ago. Let me see if I can pull it up, and I won't play it, but I just want everyone to go check it out. Where he did a video called, kind of encompassing a lot what I said. So the PlayStation 5 doesn't feel PlayStation anymore. So Sony fired 900 employees. So he basically rounded up and was talking about kind of the legacy of PlayStation and kind of PlayStation in general when it comes down to like how many games they've released that are made for them. Or made by them or in-house or whatever. And the list of exclusive PlayStation 5 games that are just for the PlayStation 5 made by studios for them is very small. It doesn't even feel like a generation. Like the PS5 is just this weird. I mean, it's a great system, right? I own one. It's right there. I've got a PS5 and PSVR 2 but I haven't been able to like really find a game to really play that I'm interested in. So this is one of those things where I don't know. I don't know what Sony is doing when it comes down to how they're treating their studios. I think they're realizing that it's the cost of development is really high. I hope Sony isn't playing politics and closing the gates to it might be. I mean, that's a big one. I don't know. That is a good one. There, I mean, there's all sorts of like new laws and regulations and privacy concerns that are going on. So maybe they're closing things down because they don't want to have to deal with that. But I don't know. So yeah, but again, Sony, they're the number. I mean, we talked about it before. They are the front runner in the consoles right now, right? Like they're beating Nintendo and obviously Microsoft is. I mean, we talked about Microsoft and kind of them going maybe third party or whatever else in the next few years. Sony's number one, but yet here they are, 900 jobs lost. So I don't know what to say about that outside of like, when you're the top dog and you've got higher profits than everybody and you're still letting go 900 employees, what does that say for gaming in general? I don't know. It sucks. This modern age of gaming is kind of an interesting one. I mean, yeah, but that would, that's not how it works, right? That's not how business works. Oh man. Anywho, hope everyone's doing all right. Yeah, I would like better, happier stories when it comes down to gaming in the next few weeks, months. I don't want to forget about people that get fired, of course, but developers are developers. They have jobs and lives, and seeing 900 people and then 670 people lose their jobs in a week. I mean, that's 1,500 game developers and people in the gaming industry that lost their jobs when gaming, by all accounts, has been making money hand over fist. It's one of the most popular forms of media right now. So I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what they're doing. So it sucks, but that's where we are. End stock buybacks employment. Yeah, I mean, whoa, slow down there, sir. What is this? Put on your revolutionary hat. But I guess what's the best thing to play here? What's my favorite thing to talk about? Where to go? Where is it? Come on. Where are you? Where's my favorite? There it is. Right here.
I'm escaping to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space!
I'll never get tired of that clip. Capitalism, baby. Corporates make more money and employees get fired because they're expendable, right? They buy their franchises, they keep their franchises, and these developers get to move on and not get to take their baby with them, which sucks. Absolutely sucks. It's kind of hard to kind of say, oh, hey, by the way, the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth just came out. Go play that. Or all these other games that are coming out at the moment are exciting. It's hard to think about that, right? It's hard to say, go buy this or go buy that. So I don't know. Yeah. Anywho, Dune 2 comes out. Everyone go get your popcorn bucket and let's go watch some Dune. The answer is to unionize. No, why can't SAG? Yeah. No, I mean, they should, right? So many voice actors and everything else and artists create. They should bring them under the umbrella, but there's weird stipulations about that. Like I'm all for unionization. Unionize, for God's sakes, please. But yeah, that you're right. That is the right answer. No, I believe it hasn't. It has not. Oh my God, I'd forgotten about that. What a sad. Has everyone been following this story? I haven't talked about PAX yet. I'm not going to talk about PAX until next week, or at least further down the road, because we're almost there. It's later into March, but yes, PAX East is coming up, and I will be there, of course. You will be there, Adam. So yeah, I'll talk about it. But I want to talk about this story. Has anyone been following this story? This Willy Wonka experience? Oh my God. Let's see if I could pull up a good story about this, because this has been an absolute Fire Island of a story. Try to do. Oh man. So come on, let me see what's a good it's New York Times. Is that a good one? All right, I'll pull up the New York Times version. That's a good one here if it lets me. No, New York Times, of course, is paywalled. Why do I even think that would be the right story to pull up? Guardian? No, yeah. Is that a good one? Somebody, it's like, I want to find a form of media to pull this up. So we live in this weird dystopian future right now where AI is everywhere. And what happened, if anyone didn't follow along, there is a event in Glasgow that touted itself as this Willy Wonka experience, and the ads, the marketing used the pictures here on the left as the marketing. All of this was AI generated art. All of the marketing was AI generated. and what it looked like was on the right, and the thing on the right is still too much. Like that is the entirety of it, because most of the pictures, see if I can find more pictures of this thing. I got to be able to fill up more pictures, because it is dystopian and just depressing when it comes down to this experience. So they were charging $40 to go to this Willy Wonka experience. I followed the story. It started with bad AI, something I think will creep over into gaming, hence the late. Yeah, so I mean it's a whole conversation. I could talk about AI and what it's causing. From coding to art development to all sorts of stuff, is just these companies think that they could just put a topic into AI and that's what you're going to get. The memes have been priceless. If you haven't been following along, at least go look at the memes. Go look at the Willy Wonka memes. Right now there is a whole sub. I think there's a subreddit right now when it comes down to the Willy Wonka stuff. But see if I could pull up just some of them. The whole point is this company charged $40 to bring your kids. People showed up, and then when they showed up, it was like an empty warehouse with like very, very little content. They gave there was no chocolate involved. They gave everyone one jelly bean and a cup of lemonade, is what the entirety of like treat was for $40. They had the entire like script that they wrote for this like experience was AI generated, and it involved like a villain, and it's just absolutely wacky, and it's a farce, right? Like they sold a lot of tickets for this, and it's just I can't even comprehend the idea that this happened. But then at the same time, like this is what happened. This is one of those things where you had AI art, you fool all these people, and then you took their money, and it was all a scam. Everything, all the marketing was AI written, all the flyers were AI, including all sorts of like gibberish AI misspelling. It just a mess. And then when people showed up, again, it was like this giant empty warehouse with very few props, one or two random Oompa Loompa people that were just very depressing. I just like this Willy Wonka experience was just hilariously sad. And so I could pull up more images here, because I just want to pull up more. Come on. Yeah, so here's the this is what the Oompa Loompa look like. I mean, it's just absolutely depressing. Yeah, she's been. I feel for the actors who was pictured by the seats. Yeah, it's just like this actress. And look at this. I mean, this face alone is just absolutely amazing. Like, just absolutely amazing. That is just the memes have been so good. I don't just go follow it. Go. I really can't even describe it. I don't know what to talk about outside of like just go look at this. Just type in Glasgow Willy Wonka experience. Go to Twitter and go read the threads. They're absolutely hilarious. The memes have been awesome. The whole conversation has just been kind of interesting. Just because, again, if you're in tech or whatever, this is one of those things where this is going to happen more often than not. How many people are going to be using AI art? You got to now be careful about things like this, because, I mean, I can only imagine like you're a big fan of something, you see all these pictures, and then you go to it, you travel for the day to this like event, you pay the money, and then you get there, and it's just this dystopian like kiddie pool of like in the middle of an empty like floor full of like ball pit. Yeah, we got Fire Festival at home, kids. That's exactly right. I mean, it's just bad. Absolutely bad. Here's another one. Adventure Beat's got some good pictures here. I'm trying to pull up what I saw a couple of stories that just had who had just tons of pictures about it. Yeah, so this was a flyer. This is part of the art, right? And then this is what it was. Like when people showed up, that was the event. Just sad. Like that is the depth of it all. Here's there's the little tables with this like bounce house or whatever. They had the AI art printed on sheets so that you can kind of sit there and take a picture. But this is what it was in the background. Like people would walk up and this is what it was, like this warehouse. And here is the flyer. I mean, look at this thing. Enchirining Entertainment, Catgatine Live. Like this is all AI generated. It's if you've ever tried to generate art, in this, like text always comes out wrong. It's because it's just grabbing pieces of words to create this like image. And none of this is real. Like this is just absolutely crazy. Is the website still up? Yeah. So this is the actual website, by the way. I didn't even realize that the website was still up. So this is the actual like experience website. This is how they advertised it. All of this screams AI art. If you've been online and been paying attention to AI art, this is exactly like all of this screamed AI art. Location, Box Hub Warehouse, Glasgow. Let's see. Info here. Book now. Okay. Experience. Oh, this is literally just the one page. Location. It's all just one page. FAQs. What can I experience from Willy Wonka's chocolate? Step into a magical realm of Willy's chocolate experience, a universe where confectionery dreams are brought to life. Explore an array of themed rooms like the Enchanted Garden and the Vision Room and Lemonade Gallery, each offering unique and delightful surprises. Not only will you witness the magic of chocolate, which there was no chocolate at this event, but you'll also have a chance to taste it. There was no chocolate to taste. There was one. You would get one jelly bean. Prepared for the journey, the delicious treat. One treat. I don't understand. Be sure to get your tickets for the extraordinary event. What does the ticket include? General admission includes experience for 4+. This is just a mess. We will ask to produce your card. Arrival at Willy's Chocolate Experience. Blue light discount cannot be applied to any promotional tickets. What is the refund exchange? There are no refunds. I just, can I bring animals? Animals are not permitted. Okay. Be held indoors. For groups of 12 or more, discounted tickets can be purchased. Woo. Yeah. Dress up is encouraged. This is so grifty. You're right. Grifters, will the grifters get away with it or be? I don't know, man. Like at this point, I don't know. If nothing else, I'll make a killing. It's one of the best shows. Yeah. Yeah, this is just a mess, but I suspect that we're going to see more of this kind of stuff coming soon. Hey, Tim. Oh, man. Oh, this is just a mess. So, yeah, go check this out. The memes alone are worth it. What? I mean, look at this. Look at this text. None of this is real. Like, enigmatic sounds with unexpected twits. What? None. Like all of this is AI generated, man. Oh, so sad. But yeah, I mean, I could see how some of this stuff would fool you, but none of these are real pictures. So sad. All right, folks, an hour in. Thanks so much for joining me again. We should be back, I think, next week. No, I know. Actually, Jordan is still going to be out next week as well. I think he's out for, I think it was 17 days he's out in Japan. So that's going to be interesting. I'll hop on. I'll hop on next week. I'm going to probably do some. I want to actually stream some Helldivers this week. If any of you guys have been following along, that game has been kind of the darling right now for online play at the moment. And I just got a copy of it, Helldivers 2. If anyone is unfamiliar with it, Helldivers is pretty much if you are a fan of Starship Troopers, then you are going to be a fan of this game. So I just picked up my copy, and it.
The Federation of Super Earth, keeping managed democracy safe with the
It's all about democracy, man. Spread democracy.
Protecting freedom from tyranny with the gentle touch of an iron fist. But liberty's enemies march ever closer. Together, we must take back control of freedom.
Together for managed democracy.
Together for victory.
Together for liberty.
Together for liberty.
Together, they fight for freedom. Will you? Enlist in the galaxy's elite fighting force. Work together to protect your future. Dispense peace with the ultimate weaponry. Become a legend. Join the Helldivers, the galaxy's last line of offense. We are now.
Anywho, it's doing great online. I've heard nothing but good things. They had some server issues this past week because of the amount of people. Oh man, right? Like, yeah, no, I would love for them to do that kind of stuff. Yeah, but I think it's out on. I want to say Helldivers is on PC as well, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so Helldivers 2 is on. It's a Sony Studios game, but it's out on PC and PlayStation 5. But yeah, probably maybe this weekend. I probably stream a little this weekend. I'm really been wanting to sit down and play, and so just catch me this weekend if you want to hop on and just chat me up while I stream and get absolutely dismantled while playing Helldivers 2. Because just like every 40-plus-year-old dude that doesn't get a chance to game as much, I'm going to hop on to a game a week into its lifespan and just get completely demolished by a 12-year-old. So that's kind of the way it works, right? So, all right, folks, thank you so much. Thanks for joining me. Have a good rest of the week. Yeah, be kind. Go watch Dune 2. It's out, or it's out tonight, midnight. So yeah, but Dune 2's out. So go check it out. I'm going to try to have a date night maybe sometime this weekend with the wife. I'll figure it out. I don't know yet. But yeah, Dune. All right, everyone, take care. Be kind. Safe travels. Good eats. Have a good rest of the week. Have a good weekend. Take care. I'll see you later on.